Hi guys and welcome. I hope you all are having a great week so far. If you are new here and you want to support our channel, you can subscribe and hit the notification bell so you will never miss any of our uploads. With that being said, let's begin. It felt like it was just yesterday, that fateful day when my friends and I decided to go fishing at the remote lake deep in the woods. The air was thick with anticipation as we set out in the early morning light, armed with only fishing gears and a cooler full of snacks. Little did we know we were about to embark on a journey that would haunt us for the rest of our days. The sun was just beginning to rise as we arrived at the lake, its surface calm and sincere. We quickly gathered up our fishing rods and cast our lines into the water, eager to catch some prize-worthy fish. But as the day wore on, our excitement turned into unease. It started with rocks moving, the sounds of shoes stepping on rocks. But as we looked around, there was no one else in sight. At first, we dismissed it as the wind playing tricks on us. But soon, the sounds of the rocks grew louder and louder. And then, out of the corner of my eyes, a shadowy figure lurking amongst the trees. As I stared at it in the dark, trying to make out what it was. And then, without a warning, the figure merges out of the shadow. A ghostly apparition with long black hair. It was dressed in all white. It hovered over the water, its translucent form shimmering in the moonlight. But it was what the ghost did next that truly terrified us. It began to hurl sticks and balls of dirt at us, as if it was trying to drive us away from the lake. Panic surged through our veins, and as I scrambled to pack up my gear, desperate to escape the ghost's breath. But as we made our way back through the dense forest, we realized that we were hopelessly lost. The trees seemed to be closing in around us, their branches reaching out like gnarled fingers. No matter which direction we turned, we couldn't find our way back to the safety of our car. Hours passed as we stumbled through the underbrush, our fear growing with each passing moment. The ghost hunting our every step, its chilling laughter echoing through the trees. And then, just when we thought we couldn't take any more, we stumbled upon an old, vacant cabin hidden in the woods. With no other options, we cautiously entered the cabin, hoping to find some clue that would lead us back to civilization. And then, as if on cue, the ghost appeared right before us once again, its twisted form looming in the doorway. We were trapped, with no way to escape the horror that lurks within the cabin's walls. As the ghost advances towards us, its scary laughter rings in our ears. I knew that we were doomed. We had ventured too far into the depths of the forest, and now we would pay for the ultimate price for our folly. And as the ghost enveloped us in its icy embrace, I knew that our fate was sealed, forever doomed to wandering the haunted woods, tormented by the ghost that had claimed us as its own. We got down on our knees and started to pray to our ancestors to protect us, and for the forest guardians to take this evil being away from us and help guide us back home safely. As if it hurt us, right after we prayed, everything went quiet. No sounds at all, not even the sounds of crickets. We looked up and there was nothing, just us in the empty room. I decided for us to rest for the night in hopes that tomorrow we will find our way back to our car. As the sun came up the next morning, we gathered up all our gears and set it out to the forest. Luckily, my phone didn't die yet, so I used the compass, and north is where we were heading. After 1 hour of walking, we found our way back. With the joy and happiness, we hugged each other. We got in the car and drove straight home. This was a lesson for us, a lesson to be learned not to mess with nature. My name is Kong, and I work for a famous car dealership. I love what I do because I get to help customers find the car of their dreams. And the pay is pretty good when I make a sale. One day, the pickup truck dropped off a 2020 Honda Odyssey in the lot. The shiny black color looks so nice when the sun hits the car. This van is an ideal car for a big family. One night, as I was locking up the dealership, I heard a faint sound of keys coming from the direction of the new van. I turned around, expecting to see one of my coworkers playing a prank on me. But there was no one there, just the empty parking lot and the shadowy outline of the car. As I got closer to this new van, I saw a black shadow ducking right behind the van. I yelled out and said, "Hey, we're closed. You can come back tomorrow." But no one answered. And with the temptation of going to look, I walked towards the van to check the other side to see if there was anyone there. And as I looked around, there was no one. I tried to shake off the feeling of unease as I hurried up to my car and drove home. The next day, while at work on my break, I went to check out the new van. Not gonna lie, this van got my interest, even though I don't have a family of my own yet. The body is very nice and the interior is so spot clean. When I got inside the van and sat down just to get the feeling, when I was sitting there, I had this weird feeling that I should look back. Looking back at the back of the car. As I turned around, I saw two females sitting in the back seat. Their faces were so beaten up, and you can see blood dripping from the top of their heads. I got so frightened, I got out of the van so quick and fell to the ground, panting. My coworker came to me and laughed and said, "Dang, the van must not like you to kick you out like that." I chuckled back and said, "I guess." That night when I was in bed, I wanted to think about why I saw those two females looking like that in the back of the seat and the sounds of the keychains coming from that van. I thought maybe I have to dig deeper into the history of this van. The next day came along. I decided to do some investigation. I asked around the dealership, trying to find out more about the van and its history. But no one was able to tell me anything about it. All they said was just that it was a pre-owned car. But I had a gut feeling that there's more to this van than just being a pre-owned car. Determined to get to the bottom of this mystery, I spent hours poring over the records of this van. It says that it has never been in an accident, but why did it also say that the van also got a new engine and it was also repainted? To me, as a salesperson, that's kind of suspicious. I'm wondering, is my workplace trying to hide something about this van so it can be sold quicker? I just have a bad feeling about this car. But the mystery doesn't end there. One day, a Hmong family came to the dealership looking to purchase a car for their growing family. As they wandered around the lot, their eyes fell upon that same black van, its glossy texture gleaming in the sunlight. From afar, I hesitated, unsure of what to do. Should I warn them about the haunting of the car, or let them make their own decisions? The more they looked at the van, it seems like they have a lot of interest in it. After test driving it, they finally made their decision of purchasing the van. But as the salesman took their information to check if they qualify for a loan, I took this time to go up to them and start to chit-chat. I asked about the family and why they chose this car. After a little bit of talking, I finally said to them in Hmong that they shouldn't get this van because on the paper it doesn't disclose that this van has been in an accident. And I also have been seeing haunting things involving with this vehicle. But who am I to them for them to listen to what I have to say? And then I just told them it's really their decision, but I just don't want them to experience the same thing I did with this car. After I left them to think about it, they left the dealership without new keys. I went to my coworker, the salesman that helped them, asking why did they change their mind. He said they just said that it was a last-minute change of heart of the van because of the color. I just said to him, "Oh well, that's their loss." But really, deep in my heart, I feel so happy that they didn't purchase the car. If I were to not tell them about it, they probably would have bought the car and something bad would have happened to them. And I know I could not live my life without knowing that I did help them. It was a calm, quiet day when I attended the funeral of my friend's child. My friend Mary had lost her precious daughter to a disease the child had had when she was born. My heart aches for her as I too am pregnant with my first child. As I enter the funeral, the air seems to grow thick with grief. Mary sat by her daughter's casket, her face filled with sorrow as she whispers her last farewell to her lovely daughter. Tears welled up in my eyes as I approached her, offering what little comfort I could in the face of such profound loss. But as I drew closer to Mary and her daughter, I felt a strange sensation washing over me, a tightening in my abdomen, a fluttering deep within. At first, I brushed it off as nervousness, chalking it up to the emotions weighing on the occasion. But as the funeral went on, the sensation grew stronger, morphing into sharp, stabbing pain that is wrecking my body with each passing moment. I tried to ignore them and to focus on Mary and her grief, but the pain was relentless, unyielding. My stomach feels like I was having contractions. That tightening got closer and closer, but I was 3 months out until my due date. I knew I had to leave, to seek help before it was too late. With a heavy heart, I excused myself from the funeral, stumbling out into the cold autumn air. I made my way to my car, clutching my swollen belly as the pain intensified with each step that I take. I drove to the hospital as fast as I could, tears streaming down my face as I prayed for my unborn child to be safe. When I arrived, the nurses rushed me into the emergency room, their faces filled with concern as they worked to assess my condition. But to my surprise, as soon as they started to examine me, the pain vanished, disappearing as quickly as they came. The nurses exchanged puzzled glances as they checked and rechecked my vital signs, but find no evidence of distress. They told me my baby is doing fine and that I had no signs of contractions, and my cervix is still closed. I was bummed out about what they said, but I'm just glad that my baby is doing fine and I was able to go back home. Confused and shaken, I reached out to my friend Mai, a shaman with a deep connection to the spiritual world. I told her about the experience that I had at the funeral, about the unexplainable pain that had gripped me in the presence of Mary and her daughter. Mai listened intently, her eyebrows arching so high in her thoughts as she shuffled her tarot cards. She laid them out before me, 3 cards laying in a straight line. One by one, she started to flip them over. And then, as she turned over the final card, her eyes widened in shock. "So it looks like the child who passed, she wants your baby. She wants your child to accompany her in the afterlife," Mai said. I felt a chill on my neck as Mai's words sank in. Could it be true? Could Mary's daughter be reaching out from beyond the graves, seeking my unborn child? I didn't know what to believe, but one thing was certain. I couldn't ignore the warning signs any longer. I had to protect my baby at all costs, even if it means to face the unknown terrors that lurks in the shadows. Before I left Mai's place, She told me to tell my husband to and that should help with the deceased child trying to come after my child. Scared but also prepared to do whatever it takes to protect my unborn child. Weeks later, my husband found a shaman and he came to The shaman then made a replica of a fake baby. The fake baby was made out of straws, wearing Hmong clothes. This baby was made for Mary's daughter to take with her. After when the zineng was done, he informed me that my child would be safe from now on, and that Mary's daughter has agreed to take the replica child with her.